How vulnerable are our children when they play games like Fortnite or Minecraft? Some radical groups like white supremacists may be seeing this as a ripe breeding ground for recruitment. Let's bring in Tony McAleer. He is a former skinhead recruiter himself. Tony, when I was digging through the research of this professor at Texas Tech, I was so interested to find that she actually had been researching something totally separate. If you're a gamer, you know about Gamergate. And she found that there was this subset of gamers, these young men who seemed to be extremely vulnerable, and that white supremacists were looking at this and saying, wait a second, maybe if Facebook and YouTube and Twitter are having these hearings in Congress and they're going to crack down on that, this is where I can infiltrate it. What did you think when you started digging into it?
I'm a gamer myself, so I'm very familiar with what goes on online, and it's very easy, you know, and you see it all the time. The racist language, the expletives, and stuff that gets said in group chat and in private chat, you would never see in an average conversation. And I think when you throw bait like that out there and then people laugh at it or they, you know, respond to it, then you know you maybe got somebody on the hook, and that you can then lure them in. There's entire organizations, clans with a small c, in the gaming space on particular games that are just people that believe that way.
So they throw the line out, they get a bite. How do they then begin recruitment? What does that look like? Do they say, hey, meet me in this private chat room? I mean, I'm not a gamer, so I don't really know how it works.
Well, just, you know, it's like being in a chat room attached to the game, and, you know, somebody says something that you like, and then they maybe private message you or invite you to another channel where there's people that talk about what you're interested in, and it starts off as innocuous as that. And nobody says, you laughed at my joke, you know, we're going to recruit you to this paramilitary white supremacist organization. It's just it's very gradual. You know, it's like putting a frog in a pot, you know, and you turn the temperature up 1 degree at a time, and the frog doesn't notice.
And I think
but you turn it up 10 degrees.
Right. And I think when we talk about sort of what do we do to stop this, you have to look at who it is that they're targeting. They're targeting lonely sort of outliers who feel like they don't have a group to belong to, and they're so vulnerable they don't have a family that may be giving them any kind of positive influence. So how can these white supremacists be stopped from reaching people like that?
Well, it's not like that the white supremacists have this master plan to go into games to find people. The people that are doing the recruiting are often coming from that same place of loneliness and vulnerability themselves. It's more like trying to find people that are just as angry at the world as they are and want to share their anger and hatred with other people. It's not quite so organized. But there are groups that are taking advantage of the ability to communicate online through, you know, it's how do you stop people talking? I mean,
yeah, we're having that conversation when it comes to social media. You know, we talked about Facebook being before Congress just this week. And it's like, how do you control this? And there's so much attention to things like television and movies and social media. Should there be more attention to video games? I mean, Fortnite brought in $400 million in revenue just last year, and it seems nobody's paying attention to this. Nobody's policing these platforms.
You know, and games like, you know, not before Fortnite, you know, the World of Warcraft, you know, and they were white supremacist organizations organizing and recruiting in that game. I mean, it's where people are, and you can reach people without having to do it face to face. It becomes such an easy and effective recruiting tool, and the internet, for all its magnificence.
And his video just froze. I'm so sorry, Tony. We just lost your feed, but I really appreciate your insight on this, especially being a gamer yourself, a former recruiter. There is a possibility for reform. Tony McAleer, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. Well, ahead.